Today, we're diving into one of the most unique Canada 1-cent coins, one of the most unique Morgan dollars in U.S. history. Coins value in today's market. First up, the 1974 Canada 1-cent coin, a familiar piece for many collectors, but still an important part of Canadian numismatic history. Even though this coin is common, its value and appeal depend greatly on condition, demand, and overall eye appearance. Understanding these details helps collectors know what to expect in today's market. The 1974 Canadian 1-cent coin features the iconic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the front, designed by Arnold Machen. Around the portrait are the words Elizabeth II and Dei Gratia Regina, along with the date 1974. On the reverse side, the coin displays two maple leaves on a single twig, a classic design that strongly represents Canada's national symbol. Below the leaves is the denomination, 1 cent, and above them is the word Canada. This design was used for many years and is instantly recognizable around the world. The 1974 1-cent coin was struck in bronze, composed mainly of copper with small amounts of tin and zinc. During this time, Canada produced a very large number of pennies for circulation, which means the 1974 issue is not considered rare. Millions of these coins were minted, and many are still found today in collections, jars, and old coin rolls. Because of this high mintage, value is mainly tied to condition rather than scarcity. When a coin is described as being in fine condition, it means it has been circulated and shows clear signs of wear. On a fine condition 1974 Canadian penny, the Queen's portrait will still be clearly visible, but there will be noticeable smoothing on the high points, such as the hair and facial features. The lettering around the coin should be readable, and the maple leaves on the reverse will show wear but remain distinct. The scratches mentioned are common for circulated coins and usually reduce value slightly, especially if they are deep or heavy. In today's market, a 1974 Canada 1-cent coin in fine condition with some scratches typically has a modest value. Most examples sell for around $300 in US dollars, which is only slightly above face value. Even in better circulated grades like very fine, the value usually remains under $1,000. Only coins in uncirculated condition, with full original luster in minimal marks, tend to sell for higher amounts, sometimes ranging from $1,000 depending on grade. First up, the Morgan silver dollar dated 1881 with the S mint mark, struck at the San Francisco Mint. This coin is part of the famous Morgan dollar series that ran from 1878 to 1904 and again in 1921. Designed by George T. Morgan, the coin features Lady Liberty on the obverse, wearing a Phrygian cap decorated with wheat and cotton, symbolizing unity between America's agricultural regions. The reverse shows a bold American eagle with outstretched wings, holding arrows and an olive branch, representing strength and peace. The 1881 S Morgan dollar is one of the more widely known dates in the series. San Francisco produced a large number of these coins, and many were stored for decades in treasury vaults before being released into circulation. Because of this, examples exist in many grades, from heavily worn to brilliant uncirculated. However, finding one that survived circulation in honest fine condition still holds strong appeal for collectors who appreciate coins with visible history. In fine condition, this coin shows moderate, even wear across both sides. On the obverse, Liberty's hair above the forehead and around the ear is worn, but still clearly outlined. The cotton leaves and wheat stalks are visible, though flattened. Liberty's facial features remain distinct, and the word Liberty on the headband is complete, though not sharp. On the reverse, the eagle's breast feathers are smooth with wear, but the wing outlines are clear. The arrows, olive branch, and wreath details are all visible, giving the coin a balanced and attractive circulated look. When it comes to today's market value, an 1881 S Morgan dollar in fine condition generally sells in the range of about $200. The exact price depends on factors such as eye appeal, natural toning, and overall strike quality. Coins with pleasing original surfaces and no major marks or damage often bring prices toward the higher end of that range. Because this coin contains nearly 3/4 of an ounce of silver, its value is also supported by silver prices, which adds a solid base to its collector worth. Collectors often choose the 1881 S Morgan dollar as an entry point into the series because it combines historical significance, classic American design, and reasonable affordability. It represents the era of westward expansion, booming silver production, and rapid economic growth in the United States. Even in fine condition, this coin remains an impressive piece of American history that can be enjoyed without the high cost of uncirculated examples. Owning an 1881 S Morgan dollar in fine condition means holding a coin that likely passed through many hands over more than a century. Its wear tells a story, and its steady market value makes it a reliable and enjoyable addition to any silver dollar or classic U.S. coin collection.
Next up, the 1962 Canada 1-cent coin in extra fine condition. The 1962 Canadian 1-cent coin was struck during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. On the obverse, the coin shows a young portrait of the Queen facing right, along with the inscription Elizabeth II, Dei Gratia Regina, which means Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen. The date 1962 appears clearly beneath the portrait. This design represents the early years of Queen Elizabeth II's reign and is a key detail that collectors pay attention to when identifying the coin. On the reverse side, the coin features the familiar maple leaf design, which is one of the most recognizable symbols of Canada. The maple leaf sits at the center, with the words 1 cent and Canada surrounding it. The simple yet elegant design makes this coin easy to recognize and appealing to collectors of Canadian and world coins alike. The 1962 penny was made from bronze, giving it a warm brown color, although tone and color can vary depending on storage and circulation history. In extra fine condition, a 1962 Canada 1-cent coin shows only light wear. Most of the fine details are still visible, including the Queen's hairlines, facial features, and the veins on the maple leaf. There may be some scratches and small marks, especially from circulation, but overall, the coin should still have sharp detail and an attractive appearance. Light scratches are common and expected for a circulated coin of this age and do not automatically make it undesirable to collectors. When it comes to value, the 1962 Canadian penny is not considered extremely rare, but condition plays an important role in pricing. In extra fine condition, a typical 1962 Canada 1-cent coin usually sells for around $400 in today's market. Coins with better eye appeal, original color, and fewer noticeable scratches may sell toward the higher end of that range. If the coin has heavy scratches, corrosion, or discoloration, its value may be slightly lower. While this coin may not be worth a fortune, it still holds collectible value, especially for those building a complete set of Canadian pennies or focusing on coins from the early Elizabeth II era. It also serves as a great example of how even common coins can be interesting and meaningful pieces of history. If you have a 1962 Canada 1-cent coin in extra fine condition, it is definitely worth keeping, as it adds character and historical depth to any coin collection.
Next up, the 1879 Morgan dollar with the S mint mark holds a special place among collectors. Struck at the San Francisco Mint, this coin represents the early years of the Morgan dollar series, which began in 1878. Made of 90% silver and 10% copper, the coin has a substantial weight and a bold design that continues to attract collectors more than a century later. The obverse of the 1879 S Morgan dollar figures Lady Liberty wearing a Phrygian cap, surrounded by 13 stars representing the original colonies. The date 1879 appears clearly at the bottom. In very fine condition, Liberty's facial features remain strong, with noticeable wear on the hair above the ear and on the cotton leaves and wheat grains in the headband. The word Liberty is usually visible, but may be slightly worn. Overall, the design is well outlined, making the coin attractive even with circulation wear. On the reverse, the powerful eagle with outstretched wings holds arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing strength and peace. In very fine condition, most major details are visible. The eagle's wings show moderate wear, especially on the breast feathers, but the outline remains sharp. The wreath and lettering around the edge are bold and readable, and the small S mint mark beneath the wreath identifies the coin as being struck in San Francisco. This mint mark is important, as San Francisco Morgan dollars are often more desirable than their Philadelphia counterparts. The 1879 S Morgan dollar had a relatively high mintage compared to some other early dates, which means it is not considered extremely rare. However, collector demand for Morgan dollars is consistently strong, and condition plays a major role in value. In very fine condition, this coin is appealing to collectors who want a solid example without paying the high premiums associated with higher grades. In today's market, an 1879 Morgan dollar with the S mint mark in very fine condition generally sells for approximately $700,000. Prices can vary depending on overall eye appeal, toning, and whether the coin has been cleaned or damaged. Coins with natural color, even wear, and no major scratches often sell toward the higher end of that range. If the coin is certified by a reputable grading service, it may bring a slightly stronger price due to increased buyer confidence. Collectors value this coin not only for its silver content, but also for its historical significance. It reflects a period when silver dollars were an important part of American commerce, and when the San Francisco Mint played a major role in producing coins for the growing western United States. Whether you are building a Morgan dollar set or simply appreciate classic American coinage, the 1879 S Morgan dollar in very fine condition remains a solid and collectible piece with lasting appeal.
Next up, the 1950 Canada 1 cent coin. This coin was issued during the reign of King George VI and represents an important post-World War II period when Canada was rebuilding its economy and modernizing its currency system. On the front of the 1950 Canadian 1 cent coin, you will see the portrait of King George VI, facing left. Around the portrait are the Latin words Georgius VI DG Rex, which means George VI, by the grace of God, King. The date 1950 appears below the portrait. The design is simple but dignified, and it reflects the style of Canadian coins from the mid-20th century. On the reverse side, the coin features the iconic maple leaf twig, which has been a symbol of Canada for generations. The words 1 cent appear on either side of the maple leaves, with Canada written above and the year below. The 1950 Canada 1 cent coin was struck in bronze, made primarily of copper, giving it a warm brown color when well preserved. Over time, many of these coins developed darker tones due to circulation and environmental exposure. Because millions were produced, this coin is not extremely rare, but its value depends heavily on condition, color, and surface quality. The coin you're describing is in extremely fine condition, which means it shows light but noticeable wear. In extremely fine condition, most of the design details remain sharp. King George VI's facial features are clear, the hair shows good detail, and the maple leaves on the reverse are well defined. There may be light wear on the highest points, but the coin still looks attractive overall. However, the presence of some scratches can slightly affect the value, depending on how deep or noticeable they are. In today's market, a 1950 Canadian 1 cent coin in extremely fine condition generally sells for around $3 to $8. Coins with smoother surfaces, original color, and minimal distractions tend to sell closer to the higher end of that range. If the scratches are light and not too distracting, the coin may still hold solid collector value. Heavier or more visible scratches can push the value toward the lower end of the range.
While this coin is not a high-dollar rarity, it remains a meaningful collectible, especially for those building a complete set of Canadian pennies or collecting coins from the reign of King George VI. Some collectors also look for examples with strong strike quality and even color, which can make the coin more desirable despite minor surface marks.
Next up, the 1880 Morgan dollar with the S mint mark is especially popular among collectors today. Struck at the San Francisco Mint, this coin represents a period when America was expanding rapidly, silver production was strong, and large silver dollars were actively used in commerce. The S mint mark can be found on the reverse of the coin, just below the wreath and above the letters DO in $1, and it immediately tells collectors that the coin came from San Francisco, a mint known for producing well-struck, high-quality coins. The 1880 S Morgan dollar is composed of 90% silver and 10% copper, with a total weight of 26.73 grams and a diameter of 38.1 millimeters. The obverse features Lady Liberty wearing a Phrygian cap with a band reading Liberty, surrounded by 13 stars representing the original colonies, along with the date 1880. The reverse displays a powerful bald eagle holding arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing strength and peace, with the words United States of America and $1 clearly visible. In extra fine condition, this coin shows light but noticeable wear on the highest points of the design. On the obverse, Liberty's hair above the forehead and around the ear will show some smoothing, but most strands remain sharp and well-defined. The cotton leaves and wheat ears in her hair are still bold, and the word Liberty on the headband is fully readable. On the reverse, the eagle's breast feathers show light wear, but the overall feather detail remains strong, with clear definition in the wings and tail. The rims are complete, and the major design elements are crisp, making the coin visually appealing. When it comes to value, the 1880 S Morgan dollar in extra fine condition is considered a solid and affordable collectible compared to rarer dates. In today's market, an extra fine example generally sells for approximately $400,000, depending on overall eye appeal, luster, and whether the coin has been cleaned or damaged. Coins with original surfaces, attractive toning, and no major marks often bring prices toward the higher end of that range. Because the 1880 S issue was struck in large numbers and many were well preserved, it is often used by collectors as a benchmark for quality in the Morgan dollar series. Collectors appreciate this coin not only for its silver content and historical significance, but also for its beauty and availability. It fits perfectly into typesets, date and mint mark collections, or as a representative example of classic American silver coinage. If you have an 1880 S Morgan dollar in extra fine condition, you own a piece of American history that remains highly desirable and steadily valuable in today's coin market.
Next up, the 1946 Canada 1 cent coin. On the front of the 1946 Canadian 1 cent coin, you will see the portrait of King George VI facing left. Around the portrait are the inscriptions identifying him as the King of Great Britain and Canada. The design is simple but elegant, reflecting the classic style of mid-20th century coinage. The reverse side features the iconic maple leaf sprig, which has long been a national symbol of Canada. Below the maple leaves is the denomination 1 cent, and the date 1946 appears at the bottom. The coin is made primarily of copper, giving it its familiar reddish-brown color when well preserved. Over time, circulation and environmental exposure can darken the surface or cause uneven toning. Because the 1946 cent was produced in large numbers, many examples are still found today, especially in circulated conditions. When a coin is described as being in good condition, it means it has seen significant circulation. On a 1946 Canada 1 cent coin in good condition, the major design elements are still visible, but there is noticeable wear. The portrait of King George VI may appear smooth in the high points, and some of the finer details in the hair and facial features are worn down. The maple leaves on the reverse will still be recognizable, but the veins may be faint. Scratches are common in this grade, especially if the coin spent many years in circulation or loose storage. In today's market, the value of a 1946 Canadian 1-cent coin in good condition with some scratches is modest. Typically, such a coin is worth around $480 in U.S. currency. The exact value depends on factors like overall eye appeal, color, and the severity of the scratches. Coins with heavy damage, deep gouges, or corrosion may be worth closer to the lower end of that range, while cleaner examples with even wear may reach the higher end. Collectors usually seek higher-grade examples for investment purposes, but coins in good condition are still popular with beginners and history enthusiasts. They offer an affordable way to own a genuine piece of Canadian history. While a 1946 Canada 1-cent coin in good condition is unlikely to make someone rich, it still carries charm, age, and historical significance. Checking your change, old jars, or family collections can be rewarding because even common coins like this one tell a story from the past and hold a place in the world of coin collecting.
Next up, the 1978 S Susan B. Anthony dollar with an S mint mark is a fascinating coin for collectors, representing an important period in U.S. coinage history. Struck at the San Francisco Mint, this coin is part of the series minted from 1979 to 1981, with a few earlier experimental pieces and special proof issues. What makes the 1978 S Susan B. Anthony dollar unique is that it was primarily produced as a proof coin rather than for general circulation, which immediately adds to its appeal among collectors. The coin is composed of a copper-nickel clad, giving it a silvery appearance, and features the likeness of Susan B. Anthony on the obverse, one of the first women to be honored on circulating U.S. coinage. Her portrait is detailed, showing her determined expression and characteristic hair bun, surrounded by the inscriptions "Liberty," the date, and the phrase "In God We Trust." On the reverse, the coin displays a detailed rendition of an eagle landing on the moon, clutching an olive branch, a design borrowed from the Apollo 11 commemorative half-dollar. The word United States of America and the denomination $1 are clearly visible, emphasizing the coin's value and heritage. Even in good condition, a coin like this retains its historical charm and collectible appeal. In grading terms, good condition means the coin shows significant wear from handling or circulation, with major design details still recognizable but flattened, and minor surface scratches or blemishes may be present. Despite this wear, coins with the S mint mark are still highly sought after because fewer were produced compared to Philadelphia or Denver mint coins of the same year. The value of a 1978 S Susan B. Anthony dollar in good condition generally ranges from around $500, depending on the quality of the strike and eye appeal. Proof versions and coins with exceptional details can fetch higher prices, particularly among collectors seeking to complete a proof set or assemble a collection of coins with all mint marks. Coins with the S mint mark are also frequently evaluated for their rarity in certain finishes, including cameo proof appearances, which can significantly increase their market price. Collectors often acquire these coins through reputable coin dealers, auctions, or online marketplaces, ensuring authenticity and proper grading. Owning a 1978 S Susan B. Anthony dollar in good condition is a tangible connection to U.S. history, celebrating a pioneering woman's contribution to civil rights and suffrage. It's a coin that combines numismatic value with historical significance, making it a meaningful addition to any collection. Even with wear, this coin serves as a reminder of the late 20th century efforts to recognize women's achievements on American currency, providing both educational and collectible value for enthusiasts. Whether you are a seasoned collector or new to numismatics, this coin is an accessible yet historically rich piece that represents more than just its monetary value, but also a milestone in the history of U.S. coinage and the recognition of women's contributions to society.
Next up, the 1945 Canada 1-cent coin. The 1945 Canadian 1-cent coin is made of bronze and features King George VI on the front. The portrait shows the king facing left with the inscription Georgius V I D G Rex et Ind Imp surrounding the design. This inscription reflects Canada's status at the time as part of the British Commonwealth. On the reverse side, the coin displays the familiar maple leaf branches with the denomination 1 cent and the date 1945. The maple leaves are a powerful national symbol and one of the reasons Canadian cents are so recognizable and collectible. In brown shade condition, this coin is naturally toned over time. Brown coloration is very common for older bronze coins and usually indicates long-term circulation and aging. Collectors often classify copper coins into red, red-brown, and brown categories. A fully brown coin like this one generally shows clear signs of use, but it can still be very collectible, especially when the main design details remain visible. Since this coin has some scratches, that places it firmly into a circulated category. Scratches usually come from everyday use, contact with other coins, or improper storage. While scratches do reduce value compared to higher grade examples, they do not automatically make the coin worthless. Many collectors still seek affordable circulated examples to complete date sets or historical collections. In today's market, the value of a 1945 Canada 1-cent coin in brown condition with visible scratches typically ranges from about $3.60 US. Coins with heavier wear or deeper scratches usually sell closer to the lower end of that range. If the coin still has strong lettering, a clear date, and visible maple leaf details, it may attract slightly higher interest from collectors. Exceptional eye appeal, even on a scratched coin, can sometimes push the value a bit higher. Higher grade versions of this coin tell a very different story. Coins in red or red-brown condition with minimal wear can sell for significantly more, especially if they're professionally graded. Uncirculated examples can reach much higher prices, but circulated brown coins like this one remain popular because they're affordable and historically meaningful. If you own a 1945 Canadian 1-cent coin, it's best not to clean it, even if scratches and dirt are visible. Cleaning can damage the surface further and lower its value. Instead, store it in a protective holder to prevent additional wear. Even with scratches, this coin represents a piece of Canadian history and remains a solid collectible for both beginner and experienced coin collectors.